Yo, what's good in the hood? Welcome to another episode of Conspiracy the Future. Welcome to another episode 3 of Conspiracy the Future. It's your host, Stuart J. Stewie, aka Stewie Do It, because I stay doing it moving. Hey, we're about to talk about today isn't necessarily a conspiracy. It is a conspiracy at all, but we're going to tie it in to one of the conspiracies we've been discussing, the Maui tragedy. Okay. Today, as you can see here, let's go ahead and put that back up. I want to discuss the globalists of the New World Order, the World Economic Forum, World Government Summit, whatever you want to call these guys. They are the most richest, powerfulest people in the world who have joined together to banded together like the Avengers, the rotten Avengers, to enslave its people, its citizens, its lower class, wage slaves, pay you just enough so you can survive another day to come to work and earn a wage. It's what we call wage slavery. And the normies, they love this type of stuff. But this is what they're rolling out on us. The World Economic Forum. And if you've ever wondered why it looks as if, or seems as if, all of our politicians seem to be all on the same team, regardless of Republican, Democrat, Independent, it's because they play on the side of the globalist. And this is the globalist big homie. He's the big head honcho. He's the one that's calling the shots. He's got the diabolical ideas. You got to understand that these guys are. Just think of an evil villain in an Avengers movie, and just the diabolical schemes that they come up with. This guy right here, Klaus Schwab, is like the Thanos of the world. He wants to snap his fingers and bring the population down to 2 billion people. Let's go ahead and hear what you have to say. I'm going to have to play this all the way through. Listen closely. I got the subtitles on. Just read between the lines.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to participate for the 8th time at this important meeting, even if only in a virtual way. I would like to express my high respect to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum for having taken the initiative for creating such an important global platform for governments shaping the future. I also want to congratulate Dubai for having organized such a successful World Expo, despite all the repercussions of the global pandemic. Last November, in partnership with His Excellency Mohammed Al Gargawi, we brought together 60 top intellectual thinkers here in Dubai. Thank you to His Excellency for enabling this initiative to define a longer-term narrative to make the world more resilient, more inclusive, and more sustainable.
You're going to hear the word sustainable a lot in this episode. Sustainable is a word that they use to it's a cover word meaning control. Sustainable, they want to control your actions. They want to control what you consume. They want to control what you drive. They want to control how you drive it, when you drive it. They want to have control. The World Economic Forum is really what's going hard in global climate change. They're the ones that's pushing global climate change. And if you read between the lines there, they call it climate control. Erase the word climate and you get their main objective, which is control. Okay. Also, another thing that they plan on doing are moving. If you can already see all their plans unfolding right now as we speak, the prices of everything raising, going up, inflation, the housing prices, no one can afford a house. Man, it's going up, and it's all by design.
The term narrative to make sure 60 top intellectual thinkers here in Dubai. Thank you to His Excellency for enabling this initiative to define a longer-term narrative to make the world more resilient, more inclusive, and more sustainable. With all the current issues on our agenda, we tend to forget that we are in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution, which accelerates global change in much more.
The fourth industrial revolution is what they believe is, we're in the era of the fourth revolution, technology revolution. And what that means is they're pretty much fusing technology with the body. They're growing organs. They're growing animal meat from cells. They're just that's the next level of technology that we've reached, and they want to utilize that technology to control us. So that's the scheme that they're really good at making it sound golden and making it sound good, but read between the lines.
Comprehensive and faster ways than the previous three revolutions. I'm proud that the government of Dubai has been so foresighted in establishing a Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in cooperation with the World Economic Forum. The objective is to quickly recognize the potential of new technologies, as well as develop the necessary ethical and political frameworks around those new technologies to ensure that those technologies are human-centered and society. The world has to overcome not only the damage done to our economies and our societies by COVID-19, it also has to confront the repercussions of a dangerous clash between major global powers.
Just so you know, the World Economic Forum believes in what they call the Great Reset, which was brought into fruition through the COVID pandemic. So the COVID pandemic was the crisis, some would say man-made crisis, that allowed these globalist Avengers to swoop in and act as the heroes while grabbing control of your freedoms. Listen closely.
History is truly at a turning point. We do not yet know the full extent and the systemic and structural changes which will happen. However, we do know that global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected.
Answer me this. What do they know that we don't know that guarantees that we will be facing food shortages in the near future? Could it be that they know that they are going to create conditions to where there is a food shortage, such as killing livestock? Bill Gates, one of the World Economic Forum Avengers, has been buying a lot of farmland in Central California, not for building crops, not for growing crops. Sorry about that.
The global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected. In times of crisis, the role of governments is more important and more relevant than ever.
See how I did that? In times of crisis, the role of government is more important and more irrelevant than ever. So what benefit would they have? So you can see the benefit that they have by creating crises, such as the COVID. And we're going to tie this into the Maui tragedy.
What is also needed is a summit like this one to go beyond crisis management and to look into constructive ways we can build our common future. Our futures are intrinsically connected to one another, as profound challenges to mankind, such as climate change, are globally interconnected and require collaborative responses. In conclusion, and despite all the challenges, we have to uphold our responsibility, which we have towards the next generation, and which we can only fulfill through collaboration on a national and on a global level. I wish you an impactful and successful meeting.
So, as you can see, that's the event your big homie Thanos depopulate the world. Their main goal is to move all of the peons like us, all of the wage slaves, corral them into cities to where they don't have to travel as far to become or to earn their wage slave. Well, if you don't know what a 15-minute city is, that's their goal. Okay, and let me show you. This is what they're talking. This is the World Economic Forum. They're having a meeting again, talking about the 15-minute city. We're not going to go all into it. I just found this one question here from one of the world developers one of the guys that designs these 15-minute cities. And they're gonna make the 15 minutes sound like something beautiful, but there's a dark secret that they're not telling you. Just keep COVID lockdowns in the back of your mind when you think 15-minute cities. Let's go. You know what? I fucked that up. I didn't share the screen. I'm sure you're looking. My bad. Well, yeah, what I'm about to show you right now is, he's a developer who has been tasked to help develop these 15-minute cities across the country. And I want you to listen close. We're not going to watch this whole video, but I want you to listen closely. To what he's asked, and then the answer he gives. If you tell me, first, if the COVID wasn't a planned pandemic, but also, I want you to start thinking about connections to this Maui fire. I'm going to put these pieces together for you. You'll see.
This idea being developed and being used by cities in different parts of the planet.
Yeah, no, good question. I think the answer to that in some ways would have been different 18 months ago. I do think that COVID has made a difference. People talk about pandemics as being great accelerators of trends that were already happening. And if you think of the climate emergency, if you think of social outcomes as a response to inequality, these things have all accelerated, I think, in the last 18 months. So that's good, because I think there's a driver. I think there's a very clear driver around 15-minute cities. We're seeing social outcomes coming to the fore in our clients' thinking.
This gentleman is explaining how they plan to get these 15-minute cities built. Okay, he's explaining that tragedies like COVID and the Maui fire only accelerate their agenda, which is world domination and make you a wage slave. Now, you see, what I mean by wage slave is, you see how the prices of everything is higher. So, if your cost of living doesn't go up, and the price of everything goes up, it leaves you with less to get by every single month, and you become a wage slave. You just have enough money to go to work and come home. That's a wage slave. That's their vision. Their vision is to make you a wage slave.
About the cities per se, it might be about improving resilience to physical impacts of climate change, that we're seeing across the globe in Southeast Asia, for example. Providing rapid public transport to less advantaged communities in places like Los Angeles. So I could give the list.
Okay, see, they use the transportation issue in LA as an example. So, but yes, in LA, I'm from down here in LA in the area, and yes, it is hard to get from A to B because traffic is crazy and we don't have train lines and whatnot. So if you made LA a 15-minute city, the idea is to give you everything that you need within that 15 minutes, so you have no reason to go outside of that 15 minutes. That 15-minute city. I've been listening to these videos. I want you to go around this rabbit hole. I don't have time to play these videos so you can listen to every single plan that they have. I'm just breaking it down for you. Okay. The World Economic Forum is pushing this agenda powered by COVID pandemic in order to build these 15-minute cities throughout the world. Okay. 15-minute city everywhere. So imagine LA being a 15-minute city. They corral the low income, the people that can't afford to live anywhere else because the cost of living is out of control, and they crowd you into this 15-minute city. And then when the COVID or pandemics as such come, they lock you down to your 15-minute area. That's just one of the many things that they can do. Sustainable city. They will not allow you to drive gas vehicles in these sustainable cities. No fossil fuel burning. So you have to use electricity, which gives them the power because they could turn off your electricity. Okay, we're going to go deep down this rabbit hole. These guys are all on the same page, okay? And they have the same agenda. They have the same message. And just like I showed you in the earlier videos, how they parrot each other. They're all on script. I want you to listen. Okay?
Pertinent
And
question.
I'll explain afterwards.
Was how do we build back better?
To build back better or whatever.
We have a chance to reset the clock and build back better than before.
To build back better than before.
Remember the terrible damage of COVID as we try to build back from this global.
As you can see, we all of these familiar faces are using the same phrase to push this agenda. It's brainwashing you, mind fucking you. But why? What does build back better? What
build back better?
Build back.
What does build back better mean? We just heard from the World 15-minute city developer that pandemics accelerate their agenda. So, what are they building back? And what are they doing better?
Back better.
Building back better.
To do things differently. To build back better.
We're going to build it back better.
And build it back better.
To my plan to build back better.
Start taking all the problems that have been created in education and mental health and start to build back in a positive way.
I have launched a booklet called Build Back Better, written after coronavirus.
It's about building this country back.
Growing conspiracy following it. It is called The Great Reset.
Unprecedented opportunity to rethink.
Let me see together. Build back better. That's what we're dealing with. Okay. Anybody who is saying build back better is a globalist. And what they mean by that is take everything that you have, build it back in their vision so you can rent from them and live on their land, but you will own nothing. You can't afford to own anything. They're not here to fix the wage gap or the cost of living. No, they want to capitalize on the fact that you are struggling. Okay? Which ties into Josh Green, the governor of Hawaii, who's also a globalist. Also a globalist. That's not it. Oh, hold on.
Part of Maui. This is going to be a multi-year recovery. It's going to take...
This is Governor Josh Green, Hawaii governor, who happened to actually be a globalist as well. And we know this by what you're going to hear him say in the next few seconds. And how I'm tying this in. We've been talking about how the Maui fire tragedy, crisis, is tragedy, and it's been horrible. And all this funny business that's been involved with it, from them evicting people whose houses didn't burn down, not allowing access back to the burn area, okay, making statements of the state taking the land. This gentleman, governor of Hawaii, Josh Green, had already, prior to the fire, made an emergency proclamation. I have the paperwork. We're gonna look at it. More fishy shit. He had in plans for that city of Lahaina housing projects in the burn area. So he predicted the future. It was as if he knew that that area was going to burn, because he had plans to build a housing project there. Let's talk about it.
Essentially years to rebuild Lahaina, which was destroyed, but we will build it back better, and we'll build it back proudly. Build Lahaina, which was destroyed, but we will build it back better, and we'll build it back proudly as we do Lahaina, which was destroyed, but we will build it back better, and we'll build it. But we will build it back better, and we'll build it. But we will build it back better, and we'll build it destroyed, but we will build it back better, and we'll build it.
There's that phrase again. There's the build it back better phrase again. That's how you know that he's part of them. Let's look at what he has going on. He's been caught on camera.
Thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing. I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing. I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing. The state will take it and preserve it first.
Did you hear that? He's already trying to figure out a way to acquire land, the state to acquire that land for workforce housing. Let me show you what he's talking about, because he's already he had already made that. He had already made this emergency proclamation, which were in his plans. We could just read the first couple paragraphs. Okay, the emergency proclamation. Okay, emergency proclamation over. The emergency proclamation relating to housing, signed by Governor Green on July 17th, 2023, aims to streamline development process and empower developers and stakeholders to contribute to the creation of more housing opportunities. So that didn't say anything about the natives. This is an emergency proclamation that he wrote up on July 17th, 2030, almost a month before the fire, talking about he needs this emergency, it's emergency, and he needs developers to come in here and build workforce housing, like he said, without all the, what is the word I'm looking for? All the streamline. He wants to streamline. He want to make it easier. They want to have to go through the permits, all the codes, pilot. They don't want to have to go through all that. They want to make it easier for developers, not homeowners, not renters, not natives, not citizens, developers. Okay, let's finish. The emergency proclamation reflects intensive input from the state and county agencies that provide details on process maps, applications, checklists, common areas of approval delays, and recommended touch points for engagement. See, I don't know. Okay, process map, application. So he wants to make it easier, shorter application checklists, no more approval delays. Shorten approval delays. He wants to streamline. He wants to make it easier for developers to come and build on the land that just burned down. Okay, he's already set up moratorium off the subject. Okay, for property owners in the area that they can't sell their houses, they can't sell their burned down properties to other developers, to family members. Maybe say their house burned down. They don't have enough money to build it back themselves. They're going to take the government kickback and the project housing that they're going to build for them. They're going to live in that happily, but they want to sell that property to, say, a nephew who may have access to $5 million, or say $1 million, $2 million, a couple $1 million, where he's able to develop a nice new house on that property. No. Hawaii does not want to allow it. Governor Josh Brown made this emergency proclamation, and also the moratorium on the land, banning or restricting people from selling to the developers who aren't chosen by the governor right here. That's crazy. Think about that. Let's get back to it. Through the governor's emergency proclamation, a streamlined process has been put in place to accelerate housing production while maintaining the highest standards of quality. For questions, okay. Now this is I read this. Let's go down to the bottom right here. This is stuff that they slide in there. I'm gonna find it. Okay, which is all good. You heard the last sentence, or the last paragraph, is they want to accelerate housing production while maintaining the high standards of quality. Okay, that sounds as if they are going to help the landowners, the natives build back their houses. No. Okay. You'll see right here, build beyond barriers. Another BBB. Another build back better type of shit. You seeing these connections? You guys want to call it conspiracy theory, but no, this is not a conspiracy theory. They just throw it in your face because they know the average person is retarded. Okay, now let's read this. The Build Beyond Barriers Working Group, led by the lead housing officer. The lead housing officer isn't an elected official. Okay, so he is not obligated to do what the citizens of what the natives of Hawaii or Maui want. Okay, let's get back to it. Led by the housing officer, the lead housing officer is dedicated to accelerating housing development through stakeholder cooperation. This group will not engage in policy making or regulatory changes, but will focus on streamlining housing projects. Housing projects. Do you guys see that? Housing projects. Okay, that sounds like they're building houses or maybe communities. No. Think of what a project is. Projects, New York projects. Literally, that's what they're literally building projects. Okay, its main task is to involve monitoring and coordinating various housing projects, assessing housing regulatory agency workloads, and certifying projects for construction. Okay, so they're the ones who get to decide what gets built. You can't sell your land to your son or your nephew, pass it down to your son, or whatever the case may be. You can't pass it down to your family members. The government has stepped in and they're going to decide for you what gets built back right there. And that's what's being said in this emergency proclamation. These certified projects can include housing, infrastructure development, and brownfield sites primarily intended for housing, with a strong emphasis on fair wages for workers throughout projects duration. Okay. Let's see. I read this already, but all right. Let's see. Anyways, long story short, they're not building single-family homes. They're not building single-family homes. They're building projects. That's what they're going to build back. They're going to move those people out of that area, of the burn area, and take their land and build housing projects. And with whatever's left, make a resort town, 15-minute city. Okay, I wanted to show you. I have a picture here of what they've already been building in other parts of Hawaii under the leadership of the globalist, now Josh Green. Let's see, where's that? Okay, so this is a housing project in Honolulu, I believe. And this is going to be a low-income, long-term renters. There is an option to buy, from what I've been reading, low income. Okay, but it's stack 'em high, nothing fancy. But look at the parking garage. Now, we were talking about 15-minute cities, climate control. Okay, put these two together. The other day, there's a storm in my area, Hillary. Everyone was pumping up like it was a big thing, but it really wasn't that big of a deal. Yet I got an alert on my cell phone that said, storm, high rain, or flood risk, flash flood risk, the normal. But it also said mild traveling. Okay, so just keep that in mind when they start to use climate to control. that text message next time could say no traveling. So now if you get seen on the road, you can get pulled over, and they can have that. They can do whatever law allows them to do at that point. Impound your car, whatever laws they make to control you through climate. So now as I look at this parking structure, when they start using climate to control completely, which if you study the World Economic Forum, that's their agenda. They can simply shut the gate to that parking structure and you can't drive because they put a alert out that says no driving due to the weather conditions. They're climate controlling you. Now they lock your car inside that parking structure. I think COVID should have shown you guys that is possible, and they're willing to go to that extent on your ass. Okay, what if they lock the doors on that building and use the excuse as, work from home only. There's a grocery store at the bottom, so you have everything you need at the grocery store to get food and whatnot. You can go down, but you can't leave this building. Imagine that. That building has a gym, a grocery store. It has all the amenities that you need to survive, for the most part. And when they want to hit you with restrictions, lockdowns, they just lock the door. You can't leave. It's a pandemic, global pandemic. That's what they see. We've seen it. We've seen it happen before. It's nothing new. It's not far-fetched a theory here. This theory has legs on it. So now when you attach it to the fact that the burn area, I'm looking for this fucking some more projects. He's building more projects. Another shot of the project. Here we go. The projects that they're building. I'm sure soon they'd build another. They're going to build a project like that. There's already been plans. I can't find the plans. I've seen them. But I can't find them anymore. But they're going to build something similar to that in the burned area. Let's go back and listen to what Josh said. He said it with his own words.
I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing. The state
workforce housing.
Reserve it first. I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing. The state will take it and preserve it first.
Take it and preserve it first. There you got it. I think that's case closed. Nothing to see here. There's no conspiracies. This is like real shit. They intentionally burn this area down so they can build a project in a 15-minute city resort town. The workers will live in the workforce housing, which will fuel and supply all the work hands that they need for this resort town, which are going to be rebuild, build back better in their vision without feedback from the natives who own that property, weren't able to sell their land to their family and had it stolen from them. This is your government that you guys vote for. They voted for this. Of course, there's a lot of people saying he was an implant. And yes, the globalists do implant. They implant. Joe Biden was an implant. Hillary was almost an implant. They did their numbers wrong. Look at this. Implant Josh Green. Allowed this. We already talked about all the emergency officials being on another island. The governor not being in Hawaii. The fire chief not being on Maui. The police chief, same police chief as Las Vegas massacre. He was a police chief in Las Vegas when the massacre happened. Just got his job in Maui this year. Also the coroner. The police chief is the coroner. Anyways. We're going to get off of this one, man. It's a tragedy. I can't believe they went down like that. But fortunately, our government doesn't care. Oh shit, fucking up. I thought I was smooth with that one. I thought I messed that up.
I don't know what their agenda is because I'm not a part of. Oh, we are well aware. Why do you think we're so angry? The governor is an idiot. We all know that the politicians have like their own agenda. I don't know what their agenda is because I'm not a part of politics like that. But we do know, as a collective, the people of Hawaii know that the governor, the government in general, is not on our side, and they haven't been ever since they took over. I don't know if people from the mainland like learn about that in history, but the United States illegally occupied us.
Nothing new. Nothing new. Government doesn't help us. Nothing new. We're going to keep on going down this rabbit hole. Our next episode is going to be a little more fun. We're going to get on the Trump is a racist conspiracy, because it's just a theory. It's just a conspiracy theory. And we're going to go down that rabbit hole. We're going to play evidence. Who's the bigger racist? Joe Biden or Donald Trump? I think you'd be surprised. Let's see, there's something else on here to show. Oh, 15-minute city. Let's go out. I'm gonna go out showing you what the 15-minute city. Just to give you what I know I can talk about it, but unless you see it for your own eyes, you ain't gonna believe me. This shit's real. It's real. They're really on some diabolically scheming. All right, come on, video. Diabolically scheming.
Do this before bed to stop receding gums and decaying teeth before it's too late.
Robo has the most bootleg commercials.
Before the recent lockdowns around the world, we led hectic lives with long commutes and not enough time to spend with our families and friends. Traffic polluted our air and smog blanketed our skylines.
What if it could be different? What if we could create a new normal where we reclaim our time, our health and well-being, and our communities?
This is the idea behind the 15-minute city, a growing movement to make our lives in cities more convenient, less stressful, and more sustainable. A 15-minute city is one where everything we need is close to home, where communities are safe and inclusive, where the air is clean.
A 15-minute city is one where it's easy to get goods and services. Fresh groceries, healthcare, and other amenities are all just a short trip away. A 15-minute city is one where everyone has a place.
A 15-minute city has affordable, accessible, and adaptable housing for households of all sizes and ages.
A 15-minute city means that you can work close to home or work remotely more often.
And we all play a role in our neighborhood.
What if we don't go back to life as it was? What if we already have the power to change how we live? Together, we can reimagine and create the future we want. One that is cleaner, safer, healthier, and more inclusive, and gives us back valuable time to enjoy the little things.
As you can see, that is the World Economics vision. And that's how they're going to sell it to you. There's going to be a lot of you normal people that's going to think that's cool. They're going to think like, oh yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I need. Technology, CCTV, facial recognition, pay for my groceries with the palm of my hand. Retina identification. That's all cool. I love technology. But then when they start to use it to take your freedom away, you're going to complain. Everyone's going to be mad at you because you fucking helped them push the agenda, you jerks. Let's watch this last video. We're going to get up out of here. But this is the future that we see from this theory of conspiracy. 15-minute cities where everything you need is within 15-minute radius on foot or bike. And the reason for that is because you're not going to be able to drive. And if you want to go outside of that 15-minute city, shit, you better have some pull. Or maybe you have to pay a fee, a toll. Man, it's not far off. We're there. We're close. We're close. In the 15-minute city, buildings are used for multiple purposes. Schools might host different activities for the weekends. Examples. So you live in the building, the same building your kids will go to school in. Fuck, bro. This is called wage slavery. You only be able to go to work. Gosh, bro. Hey, when they decide that there's a bad air quality day, lock you inside your house. Bro, this is what you guys are signing up for. People were wondering why. Never mind. That's sad. But yeah, man. I enjoyed that episode. The globalists. I suggest you look it up. Who are the globalists? They're Republicans. They're Democrats. They're world leaders of all countries. Come together. Band together to enslave you. Don't forget that. This isn't a theory. The only conspiracy theory involved is how much involvement do they have in that Maui tragedy amongst all the other tragedies in the country that we see. I think that we live in. Sorry about that. Oh, and we have a Biden. Last but not least, we have Joe Biden admitting fault. Ooh, hold on. I messed it up. Last but not least, before we get up out of here, we have 100% proof all the evidence we need to prove government involvement in the Maui tragedy. Bear with me. I'm digging through the files. We have this just in. This just in on Twitter.
I was on the island last week. I appointed Bob Fenn, one of the nation's leading emergency managers, and I mean that, that's not hyperbole, who's been on the ground in Hawaii since before the fires erupted as our chief federal response coordinator to lead our long-term recovery on Maui.
You heard that. They already had people on the scene before the fire. Let's hear it again.
Last week, I appointed Bob Fenn, one of the nation's leading emergency managers, and I mean that, that's not hyperbole, who's been on the ground in Hawaii since before the fires erupted.
They had America's leading emergency manager on the ground since before the fire started, from the mouth of Joe Biden.
As our chief federal response
If you don't know, wake your ass up.
recovery on Maui.
Take the blue pill. Take the red pill. Wake up.
Who's been on the ground in Hawaii since before the fires erupted. As
America's leading emergency manager on the ground since before the fire started. That's all the evidence we need. We in for another 51-minute show today. And I'm going to get up out of here. Jay Stewie, Free Stewie do it with another episode on the Good in the Hood page. Also, the Gorilla Fingers page. Follow me on Instagram. Like, share. We get better at this. Hey, you guys need to Conspira-See the Future. Think outside the box.